What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. As you guys all know, I like to go on parts picks. I like to go on car picks, and I got some stuff here back in the truck that you might be curious to see what we have in today. Wow. Oh man. Before we get into it, make sure you hit that like and subscribe, and let's get up a shot and get this thing unloaded. See you guys soon. We went on a pick yesterday where we drove to about 300 miles total round trip. On Facebook Marketplace is always a really good spot to find parts and pick parts and what have you. We went to Seneca, New York, where we picked up a Foxbody engine specifically that was in an accident, as you can tell here. Pulled it out of the Foxbody and, you know, parted it out. He had this on Facebook Marketplace. You know, you got to be careful when you're buying on Facebook Marketplace and what have you, because you don't even know if the seller knows what he's talking about. So I specifically picked this swap up for the transmission for the most part, and the first thing I noticed was the neutral safety switch on the top of the plate. One thing I wanted to talk about is I've been selling on Facebook and Marketplace and Craigslist for the most part for 20 years. Well, at least Craigslist. And you got to be very careful, buyer beware, because you got to be careful because you don't know if this is a Lincoln motor, you don't know if this is a Thunderbird motor. You know, there's a lot of telltale signs that you can look at to make sure you're getting the quality part. Being that I already kind of know what Foxbody engine and their parts look like for the most part, you know, I kind of already knew that that was not the case here. So okay, so why did I pick this this dirty old motor up and this transmission swap? Well, to be honest with you, I got it for about 500 bucks. You know, he wanted $250 for the transmission, but he didn't feel like taking it apart. For another $250, he just threw in the motor. And to be honest with you guys, there's a lot of parts in there that could probably make my money back at least. Probably isn't a good motor, but we'll tear it down another day. What we're gonna do today is we're gonna see if this is a score or if this is a strike. T5 transmission getting to the point to where they're kind of hard to find in good running condition. So most of them kind of need rebuild at this point. So the whole point of this video is to show you the pick that we got, talk about some things with buying on the internet. We're gonna go ahead and take it apart and see if it was a dud or if it was a good buy. One of the little tricks of actually transporting an engine is an old tire. You can actually balance an engine for the most part on an old tire and it not really move. You just strap it down, and like I did, it didn't move one bit in like 300 miles. So little tips of the trade: if you're ever transporting an engine, just grab an old tire, stick it on down. So we managed to get the motor turned around to where I can actually go ahead and dismount this T5 without having to worry about it falling down. Knowledge is power, guys, because I know this is a world-class T5. Bought it on Facebook for cheap. Looks like it goes through the gears pretty good. Handle is loose. I know it's a world-class because it's got the neutral safety like I was talking about. I know this is probably an 89 transmission because of the 919 and the 908 main case, because that's only up till like 91. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get the tools out. We're gonna take this T5 off. We're gonna get over here on our bench. This was supposedly a lower mileage engine too. We'll see if we actually scored a V8 transmission that's actually a good core, or we're gonna score a 4-cylinder not so good, because you can't tell from here without having the little silver tag that usually identifies the trans. All right, so let me go ahead and get these 4 bolts. We'll start with the bottom ones. Go ahead and get this thing off. Pull it out right here on the truck carefully. I can already tell. So coming right in here to the input shaft. So far it's looking really good. It's got a V8 input, I can tell, and I'll show you that here in a second. Now it's missing the silver tag. That's the identification tag, but I can already tell this is definitely a Foxbody V8, and most likely it's a 9293 208 code, which we won't know until we get in and look at the cluster. and see if we actually scored well or if we got screwed. So like I was saying, you grab a 17mm wrench there, and then if the 17mm wrench actually fits nice and snug around the input shaft, that is a V8 trans. If it was 4-cylinder, it would dangle like this. See that? And you know it's world class because it's got the Timken bearing and it's got a neutral safety switch on the top. That's how I knew, just looking at the pictures, like I probably should go after that. So the worst case scenario, I would have had a world class 4-cylinder, which isn't a bad idea because we just doing a video on how to convert a 4-cylinder to a V8 trans. But the real winner is when we crack that case open and look inside and see what the gears look like. These things are 30 years old and they've had the snot kicked out of them, and you know, there are pretty much every T5 out there really just needs to get rebuilt for the most part. You know, new carbon fiber rings, new bearings, new retainers, counter support plate. You can make some power, and you guys all know that. So we'll go ahead and get this thing over on the bench over here. I'll get my tools gathered up, so we'll crack this thing open and see what it looks like. That's a good sign. It's always a good sign when you get in here and you see red fluid. At least it had the right fluid in it and didn't have gear lube. I don't know how many times I've cracked these things open, they were gear lube and they were supposed to be a world-class fluid. Guys, world-class fluid is Dex 3. Let's see if this input's any good. And survey says not bad. I'd probably still be replacing that. Judging from the input shaft, it doesn't look terrible, but it does have some wear on it for sure. Kind of sharpening up a little bit. But I think this is aftermarket anyway. Definitely tell somebody's actually been in this transmission because you can just tell by how much gasket sealer's on it. You can see all this excess gasket sealer has been painted over. Somebody glued this thing shut. So there's a good chance that our little Facebook score here might actually be something worth a damn. It does have a little chip here, but it looks like that's been there for a long time. That's not really that big of a deal. You can always clearance that out. That's not really... So here is the moment of truth you guys have been waiting on. We're gonna crack this open and look what the gears look like. Now, the input looked like it had a little bit of wear on it. It does look like the transmission has been rebuilt, which I caught that when I actually picked the transmission up. First hand, let's see what it looks like. All right, moment of truth. Make sure we don't lose that. Wow. Oh, man. All right, so let's check out the inside of this transmission. Right off the bat, look at that input shaft. The end of that input shaft is nice and clean, not all tore up. Definitely somebody's been in here because these aren't the factory pads. And they don't look broken on the forks here. That's a good thing. Most likely that rod is straight, but we'd have to take it off to actually check it. The first gear looks to be in good condition. Second gear definitely is in good condition. This is usually all beat up. And I can show you a gear. I mean, these are the engagement teeth right here. That's what you're looking at. This gear is nice and thick at the top, and you can see the little machine lines in it. But this is nice. Shaft is an 052, just like I thought it was going to be. The gears are nice and thick and they're not all worn out and burned. Reverse as well. Looks like I got a carbon fiber synchro ring, which did not come in 052 transmission, so this definitely was rebuilt. So we'll take a pick at third gear. Third gear looks in really good condition as well, not all beat up on the engagement teeth, and it looks like the teeth are nice and you know, thick at the top here. You know, this is what I was talking about with the input. Probably be replacing this input as it looks like it's a little worn out. for the most part. All right, so that definitely went a lot better than I thought it would. You know, getting a T5 on Facebook, or getting it on Craigslist, or getting it on an unknown out of the car transmission, you pretty much are buying a core if you don't know what you're looking at. I've seen many transmissions that were complete opposite of this. I mean, these engagement teeth on this transmission are in absolute good condition. And like I said, somebody's been in this transmission. You can see all the gasket sealer on it, and you can see the synchro was actually replaced. So it makes me happy. You know, these T5 transmissions are getting really expensive, and if you rebuild them and you put the counter support plate in, you put the new retainer and the new rebuild kit in, you'll get a little bit of power out of them. Say it ain't so. So guys, I hope you appreciate the video. I hope you enjoyed the video. You know, this is where we're at with the Fox bodies, with the resto mods and the restoration. You're gonna have to deal with some of these parts that are 30, 35 years old, because to be honest with you, if you're doing that sort of resto mod, you're gonna need these parts to rebuild anyways. So getting those hard parts is gonna be harder and harder as the time goes on. So you gotta restore what we got. We gotta take care of what we got. But guys, I appreciate you watching the video. If you're curious to see, maybe I'll tear this motor down and see what it looks like inside. If you guys wanna see that video, hit that like and comment below and let me know if you want me to tear that down in front of you. We'll see if this guy really said this is a low mileage motor, because I can tell there too for the most part. But if you guys enjoyed the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe below. Comment below, tell me what you think of my little pick. I encourage you to check out that join button below. All the proceeds from the memberships stay in the channel, go to things for the channel. And I appreciate all the club members that have been with me thus far. We also got a little merch shop there below so you can support the channel. But outside of that, I just appreciate the new subs, the new likes. So stay tuned. We got some good videos coming up this week. We will see you soon in the next one. Have a good night.